What's up guys, it's Nims Reviews here, back with another One Piece video, and today we're going to be talking about chapter 1033. This is not going to be like a review analysis style video, more of just a kind of reaction. Even though I've already read the chapter and I'm not going to be reacting to it while I record this, but I don't really want to go in depth until later on in the week. So basically I just want to briefly go over the chapter and talk about some of the key moments and like what we've learned and the new things Oda has explained to us. And I think this is how I'm going to start my videos from now on, where on Friday or Saturday, I will get a video like this out. Maybe I'll actually do a reaction style video where I am reading it for the first time on camera. And then later on the week, maybe Sunday, Monday, I'll do an analysis / review type video, or even maybe a theory if I have one based on a chapter. And then random videos that I think of or have ideas for throughout the weeks or anytime I'll just post. But yeah, so if you're interested in content like that, don't make sure to subscribe. And if you end up liking this video, don't forget to leave a like and then maybe go check out some of my other content because I'm sure you'll probably like it even more than you like this video. So we start this chapter off right where we left off with Zoro versus King in the last chapter. Not gonna explain what the whole Hiyori situation was, but I'm still excited that we got to see King versus Zoro. Because honestly, I've been waiting a long time for a 1v, kind of like a worthy 1v1 fight for Zoro. So Zoro's still having trouble with controlling Enma, and he's sucking out the haki when he's not supposed to. Or he or she, I don't know if Enma's a girl or a guy. It doesn't really matter, but yeah. So Zoro's still having trouble, and King's taking advantage of this. We end up seeing King use some weird technique where he lets Zoro hit him like a direct hit to, I think is around his abdomen torso area, and he exploded. So I'm not sure if he exploded him. Well, I'm pretty sure Zoro said he exploded himself, but maybe he was just so close that it seemed like he exploded himself. But either way, that's a really weird technique that we haven't seen before, and it doesn't really add or validify my theory I made earlier this week, but it also doesn't prove it wrong or anything. So I'm still looking forward to seeing what King's race is all about, and I'm hoping we get more before this fight is over. We do get a little bit more where we cut away to Queen versus Sanji, and Queen confirms that he is indeed part of the Lunarian race. It was only hinted at before based on his reaction to Queen mentioning Lunarians earlier and him being able to control fire in the same way that Queen said Lunarians were able to. But now it's finally confirmed, like, yes, he was in fact part of the Lunarian race. They're almost extinct besides him. And he specifically said they were supposed to be eradicated. So that proves a lot of people's theories kind of right, that they were hunted or killed or pushed into extinction by some sort of outside force, presumably the world government and in my mind specifically, the world nobles, celestial dragons and whatnot, because they are who now reside on top of the Red Line, where they were said to reside before. But even with Enma sucking out Zoro's haki and kind of making it hard for him to attack and defend himself, King keeps pushing him, and he's taking advantage of every chance he gets to damage Zoro. At one point, King uses his Imperial Tempura Udon again and knocks Zoro off the island, making him lose track of two of his swords, the Wado Ichimonji and the Sandai Katetsu, which King again takes advantage of us, saying, have you lost your mind? Why are you risking getting attacked to save your swords? Which is something Oda's kind of been playing with this fight, where King's not really a swordsman. He doesn't kind of play by the same rules or code that Zoro does, and like other swordsmen like Mihawk and probably Odin, people like that as well. Like, he doesn't really have any honor to his swordplay. It's more about just winning. Whereas Zoro, he wants to win in the way he wants to win. He doesn't want to take cheap tricks or backstab someone or do something that doesn't bring honor to his name, because unless he defeats someone fair and square, it really doesn't mean anything to his swordsmanship. It just means he's willing to do whatever to win. And this is where a lot of talk in the community kind of comes about, where, oh, what's an actual swordsman in One Piece and what isn't? Because, you know, Mihawk has the title of greatest swordsman, but then you have people like I just said Mihawk. You have people like Shanks, who also is a swordsman, or he also uses a sword, but is he not included in the swordsman category because of how he uses it? How he doesn't follow the same kind of samurai code that people like Mihawk and Zoro do? What about Roger? What about Whitebeard? Because his isn't a sword, but it's a named blade. It's one of the, 11, 10, like supreme grade blades. So is he not put to the same rules as Zoro and Mihawk? Are they in a different category? What about Big Mom? She also uses a sword. Is she not a swordsman? For me, it's always been a pretty interesting topic, and honestly, I'll probably do a more in-depth video on it someday. Maybe after this fight, because hopefully we'll get a little more on that, and we'll get some conclusion with how Zoro feels about it and how King feels about it. Because Zoro did say, oh, maybe by the end of this fight I'll be ripping your throat out with my teeth or something. But is he just saying that to kind of be cool, or is he really willing to do that to win a fight? But anyways, we start getting these like glimpse of flashbacks from Zoro's past. First, we see him receiving the Wado Ichimonji from his old master, Kuina's father, and then we see him talking to Hatetsu about, oh, the Wado was crafted by the same swordsmith as Enma. It's almost like fate that you received it. And then he talks about Kozaburo leaving the country 50 years ago, and it kind of starts connecting dots in Zoro's head, like, why was this blade from Wano even in the East Blue? Also, I knew this man who made these blades, who was a swordsmith, who supposedly founded my village, and also he left his country illegally over 50 years ago as well. So then Zoro's like thinking, oh, like this isn't a coincidence. This is what's supposed to happen. This is like meant to be. It is fate in a way. And we know Oda likes to play with fate throughout his whole story, with Luffy supposedly being like some sort of reincarnation or new coming of Joy Boy, or Roger supposedly wanting to be, or kind of fitting the criteria to become the next Joy Boy. He just wasn't born at the right time, where fate kind of dictated that, no, you can't fulfill this prophecy, Roger. It's just too early. If you were born 15 years later, oh sure, you would have been able to do it. But since he wasn't, it isn't his duty to fulfill the prophecy. But now it's seeming like, oh, it is Luffy's duty. And now with Shimotsuki Kozaburo, he had given Zoro 2 swords. The 2 black blades he has at the beginning of the story, presumably. We don't know for a fact, but they look exactly like it. So I'm pretty sure they are. As well as the Wado Ichimonji. So he had 3 of Kozaburo's swords. A Shimotsuki, who he's most likely related to in some way. And then he ends up coming to Wano and getting what he says to be his magnum opus, the guardian of the underworld, Enma. So Zoro starts to say, okay, this is not just a coincidence, this is how it's supposed to be. Because honestly, I feel like Zoro might have been having doubt that this blade was actually for him, like it's meant to be. Or would, like, maybe he was thinking, I might have to give up this blade if he keeps doing this. But then he's like, no, this is meant to be. I wouldn't have come in contact with all these swords made by Kozaburo if it wasn't meant to be. And this leads him to the conclusion that Enma's just testing him. He's not trying to like kill him or make him lose a fight or anything or steal his life force. He's just testing him, because with Odin, when Odin wielded Enma, he was able to withstand all that haki being sucked out of him constantly. And it seems like it's not being just straight sucked out of him. There's some sort of control with it, because we know Zoro was able to stop it, but it seems like that isn't what Enma wants. Enma wants the same flow of haki he's able to receive from someone like Odin with Zoro, or else he doesn't believe that Zoro is a worthy master to hold him. And this is where Zoro's like, okay, I don't know if it's going to kill me. I'm just going to go all out. And then we see something really, really special. Zoro is using the Conqueror's coating. We see the black kind of lightning, not lightning, but like the like stringy things that we saw from Roger, and we saw from Whitebeard and Kaido now, and Yamato and Luffy as well. And it's not just on Enma, which a lot of people are saying, oh, Enma's doing this to Zoro. Enma's some big power-up buff to Zoro. When really it seems more of like a hindrance that is pushing him further along than a buff that's giving him free power. It's almost like when Dragon Ball characters use weights while they're fighting. Once they take them off, it's like, yeah, I'm stronger now, but when I have them on, it's like, it's a hindrance. I'm actually slowing myself down. So Zoro getting sucked all the time is really not good, but it is pushing him to use more of his haki than he normally would, or that he's comfortable using, in turn drawing out his Conqueror's coating, which I've made a few videos about, where I know a lot of people would think it's weird, oh, he's getting the same power up as Luffy when Luffy's just learning Conqueror's coating. I think it's inherently more easy for a swordsman to learn Conqueror's coating than someone like Luffy, who hasn't been able or hasn't needed to exert his haki into anything but his fist. Whereas Conqueror's coating seems something more of like it's overflowing out of your body. It's coming out of your body, where Zoro or any other swordsman who learn haki, they are putting their haki already, their armament haki, into something else. So they're used to exerting haki outside of the body in this way. So them being able to learn Conqueror's coating would be easier. And that's just my short explanation of it. I explain it more in a few videos. You can check my channel. One of it is Zoro's New Hockey, and the other one, I'm not sure what the title of it was, but you can go find it. Maybe I'll link it below. But what I was saying, he has all three blades. It's not just Enma. Like most people, I think, not most people, but people who kind of doubted Zoro's strength, almost thinking that his fighting ability or strength was being boosted by Enma, when I think it is the exact opposite. King comments on Zoro using the Conqueror's Code, and he says, "Oh, so you've got kingly ambitions as well." And then we see a flashback of Luffy telling Zoro, "Oh, you're gonna be the future greatest swordsman. Well, that's the least I would need as like king of the pirates, someone who's that great." And Zoro says something really, honestly, Zoro's my favorite character. So this chapter was just crazy. It's amazing. It was really fun to read. I read it at work when I was on the clock, and it just made my night. I was not happy. I was like, it's Thanksgiving night. I don't want to be here. Chapter came out. I was like, I don't even care. I got the chapter. But he says this: "I guess you're right after all. I made promises to my captain and my oldest friend." That's crazy. Like, you don't really see Zoro kind of express his feelings like that, or calling someone his friend, but he always the most vulnerable or like expressive when it comes to Luffy. You know, because he has connections to other people as well. You know, he's friendly with Usopp. He has this rivalry with Sanji. He has a kind of cute brother, like big brother relationship to Chopper. But it's only with Zoro really where he kind of lets himself like open his expose himself, I guess. Like that's my friend. That's my oldest, my best friend. And I just think it's really cool to see a stoic character like Zoro open up like that. Especially when like you already know like he feels this way, but it's not often that characters like this kind of just come out and state it. It's like you wouldn't see like okay, I compare it to Vegeta at the end of Dragon Ball Z when Goku was fighting Boo, Kid Boo, for the final time, and he was like, "Oh, you know, I'll admit it. You really are the best, Goku." I think he said Kakarot. I'm not sure. He probably said Kakarot. I don't know if he's ever called Goku. But it's like that. It's like that moment hit really hard because Vegeta never admitted stuff like that. He wouldn't be that open to admit it, that he's like, he kind of looks up to Goku in that way, that he's like chasing him this whole time, and he does believe he's the greatest. And it's like with Zoro, it's like, yeah, I made this promise. Like, you're right, I do have kingly ambitions. I'm going to be the greatest swordsman. I told that to my captain and my oldest friend. So just seeing that was really cool. And honestly, I'm just happy. I don't even know what to say about that anymore. I do want to touch on kind of a theory I have, not a theory, but kind of like something I've kind of seen with how they're wording this stuff. And something Oda keeps kind of alluding but not telling us fully, which is how black blades are made. And it's like, okay, we know that Fox, what's his name? Onimaru, or I don't know his name. The Fox dude back in Ringo, the snowy part of Wano, he was talking to Zoro like, "Oh, you're so stupid, you're so ignorant, you don't even know how black blades are made." And he specifically said forged, and then we get a little quick flashback where Mihawk was telling Zoro like, yeah, they're forged, but he didn't really explain any further. So Zoro was trying to connect dots, but he was interrupted at the time because of, I think that's when Hiyori and Tokyo were running away from Kamozo, or Killer, at the time. So we didn't really get anyone to explain or kind of let Zoro think about it. And now we're getting this Kozaburo, who's another master swordsmith, talking about like, oh, these cursed blades are not really cursed, they're just not conquered. Like, you haven't conquered their will, or you haven't bent it to your own. So this kind of makes me think, since Zoro right now, he isn't bending Enma's will to his own, he's kind of succumbing to what Enma wants. And I don't think you can make a black blade that way. Why would it stealing your haki make it part of you? Because for me, I'm assuming a black blade is permanent armament haki. So I don't think a blade would accept that if it didn't find you worthy, or if you weren't able to conquer its will or bend it to your own. So I think a black blade is when you fully, like, the sword is yours. Like, it wants to do what you want to do, not the other way around. Because it's always been this thing where Zoro has to, oh, it's Sandai Katetsu, it wants to cut more than I want to cut. Or it's like hitting harder or slicing more than I need to slice. And then you have like Shusui, which is a black blade, but it's not his black blade. It was shooting out bigger attacks than Zoro was able to before. Is that part of his power, or is that because it's a black blade? He even said that when he got Shusui, oh, like, this is heavy. It feels like it has like weight to it. So I'm thinking maybe to make a black blade, you have to fully conquer the sword's will, bend it to your own, make the sword want what you want as well, rather than you doing what the sword which is what he's currently doing, and what Odin did as well with Enma. Because he had ample haki and energy to give to Enma. He didn't care about like, oh, like, I can't do this, I'm gonna die. Like Zoro was like, he was like, I'm gonna die if I use so much haki. So he didn't need to worry about that. So he's like, okay, I'll give you all the haki you want. So maybe that's why Odin wasn't actually able to make it a black blade. And for Zoro to conquer this blade is what will make him like, oh, yes, you're more than worthy of Enma. You conquered Enma. Something even Kozuki Odin couldn't do. And it's kind of weird that Hitetsu even said, oh, maybe you can turn it into a black blade to Zoro. Because why, if Odin wasn't able to do it, why would he think Zoro could? So it's everything's still up in the air on Black Blades, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I'll definitely do a more in-depth video on Black Blades. I've been thinking about it for a while, but I don't have really a concrete theory because Oda hasn't given us much of anything to go on. But yeah, with that being said, I think that wraps up the chapter and the end of this video. I'll definitely do a more in-depth analysis / review on it. I don't think I have any theories on this chapter, so I'd probably just do a review. But yeah, guys, if you like this video, don't forget to like, and if you have thoughts on this chapter, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. I love talking to people about One Piece, especially chapters like this with Zoro, my favorite character, or even theories, or maybe stuff that spawned from this chapter, or even the last chapter, because a lot of stuff's been happening, so there's a lot to talk about. And if you want to see more content like this, please be sure to subscribe. Go check out some of my other videos. They're still there. It's like other chapter reviews. You don't need to watch them, but I have theories and I have general discussions on the series, so you can do that. But yeah, with that being said, guys, until I see you next time, later.